Welcome. You're tuned into the Living in Rhythm podcast, where we wax philosophy and experience in the art and science of living in rhythm. I'm Sunday, and I came here to let my soul shine. It's a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? I bet you do. If you're here, you do. So, we got a really big week coming up. I'm super excited to get into this sesh with you. We're going to talk about the hermetic principle of rhythm. So deep, so fun. The hermetic principles are the root baseline of the way that I live. It is the foundation of the living in rhythm philosophy. So we're going to talk about rhythm. We're going to talk about the importance of synchronizing with these cycles and rhythms and how they can really help with our self-fulfillment, personal development, and just like helping us feel like we're in the flow of life. Lots of energy when you feel that. We're also going to talk about the first quarter square moon. Last episode, we were talking about the last quarter square moon. Now we're here at the first half. So yeah, we're going to continue our studies into the lunar cycles. We're also going to talk about how the sun is entering the sign of Leo this week, so that'll be fun. And then we're going to dive deep into the nodes of the moon because, last days of the north and south node in Virgo and Pisces. They'll be entering into Leo and Aquarius for the first time in 9 years. And this is a big deal. This is a lot of the way, like when I study these eclipses, these nodal cycles, this is a huge part of my personal development, my personal planning. The 9-year cycle is so powerful to align with and harmonize your intentions, your prayers, your goal setting too. So we'll get into that because I do have a workshop coming up on July 26th, and it will be recorded. So if you can't make it in person, that'll be okay. But I want to talk a little bit about what that workshop's going to entail because I would love to help you prepare for this upcoming eclipse cycle. These things are so powerful, and I just want to share this information with anyone who wants to receive. So yes, we're recording this on the day of the basket with the 4-degree outer planet alignment, and I feel so heart-centered, so inspired, and ready to share my passion and love and experiences with y'all. So let's take a moment to center and ground our energy so we can really receive the information. And so as you take a couple of deep breaths in your own timing, you want to start to practice this breathing exercise as a way to drop into your center of gravity. When we take a deep breath, we can expand our awareness, but also our physical embodiment, our energetic field, just through an inhale. And then a deep exhale can release, surrender, purify, cleanse, let go of anything we're trying to hold on to, or we're wanting to let go of, actually. Let's not hold on to things we don't need anymore. That's over. So I have a new little breathing practice that I've been working with, and I want to share it with y'all. So you can do this as many times as you want. I mean, it's sort of a choose your own adventure with these practices that I'm sharing in the pod. So these are just what I consider like maintenance moves to calibrate your core, to find your center, to, again, access that place where you have more energy, but also you have more receptivity, right? That's the big message right now, is the receptivity message. So this breath we're going to do, you're going to inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Let that exhale linger and really last. At the end of that exhale, hold for 2 counts. becomes like a 14 count thing. So we're going to do this again. You inhale, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 2, 1, 2. Inhale again for 4. 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 1, 2. Inhale. So like I said, all these breathing exercises, you can do them once resets, once calibrates the core. 2 to 3, bring the energy. They circulate the energy. They start to tap into that natural baseline movement exercise that we just do without thinking. Breathing. This is what we do. And we want to get really good at using the breath to get our energy back, to ground our nervous system, to recalibrate the core. So yeah, I hope you feel that. I hope you can feel it from just one breath, but please, please practice this. This is something that I want. I'm going to be sharing it in every episode, but I just want this for us because any shortcut tools we can use to draw our energy back to our power place is going to help us in the long run, right? So that's part 1 of our core calibration series in this session. But the second part is that I really want to bring in, I'm going to start talking about the hermetic principle of rhythm, and hopefully we can apply that to our embodiment studies. So there's 7 hermetic principles: mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. 7, all 7. But what I love, we're going to talk about rhythm. And I like the idea, everything progresses and is born from another thing. Like everything's always unfolding and blooming from my perspective. But when I think about the principle of vibration, the thought that everything moves, there's a pulse and a vibration to everything. And with that vibration, then because everything's seeking balance on Earth, we move into what's called the principle of polarity. Through that vibration, polarity begins to calibrate the vibes. And so you feel the balance between the oppositional sides. From that oppositional balancing in the vibration is the rhythm. The rhythm is born from the principle of vibration polarity. That movement, that polarity creates a cadence, a pendulum swing equal from one side to the other. And through this, rhythm compensates and calibrates the movement. And so really start to think about that actually within everything, there is a rhythm. We have a rhythm in our heartbeat. We have a rhythm in our breathing. We have a rhythm in the sun and the night, the day and the night, sun and moon cycles. In life cycles, everything is patterns and rhythms. And so the more we can harmonize, sync with, and relate to these rhythms with outside of ourselves, then we can maintain the rhythmic balance within. I love that so much, guys. Because listen, when we use, back to this core calibration piece, when we use the breath to really regulate the nervous system, regulate the balance of our mental energy and our physical energy so that we become more in tune with our present state of being from that place, We can sense the pulse. We can sense the guidance, the flow, the directions that the energy actually wants to go. And this is like one of my most favorite things I play with in my mind just to live, is this idea of the pulse and the rhythm. Hence, living in rhythm. I mean, that there's so many meanings behind that name that I have been using for years now, but the philosophy that I live by, living in rhythm, is this idea that when I'm in tune and I'm in the flow within, and then I seek that harmonic balance without by tuning into the rhythmic energies without, then it becomes this harmonic state that we can flow with. And I'm telling you, from there, guidance, insight, energy, ideas, power, experience. I mean, it just all starts flowing. And this is a gift. This is a gift of being human. So I really hope to inspire you through this podcast to start to become more aware of your inner state rhythm and then the outer state rhythm. And here's the other thing I want to say. There is no way that anyone is going to be in the flow state 100% of the time. So that's not the idea of this. And in fact, because we live in the polarity planet, it is an incredible gift to actually be able to relate to and discern and recognize when we're not in flow state. Because becoming aware of being in the flow versus out of the flow, or in sync or in the pocket versus out of sync and out of the pocket, right? Like, it's good to know the balance between, because from that, then we can make choices. We can move our energy, pivot our thoughts or our feelings to a state towards the direction we're actually trying to head into. It's a lot. And so, the big deal about the breathing is to drop into a rhythmic state of breathing. So I love this little 4 count in, 4 hold, 6 out, 2 hold, right? I said 14, it's 16 count. But whatever, I'm actually not very good at math, real talk. But that's besides the point. The idea of getting a rhythm within your breath actually helps to regulate the rhythm of your body, all of your body's functions. You want them in a rhythmic state. Rhythm in your dietary needs, rhythm in your embodiment and like healthcare needs. You get what I'm saying? So it's important. Give it a try. So from here now, I want to go a little bit deeper and offer some physical practices. So up till now, we've talked about we've mostly talked about breathing and centering. But I want to share just a couple of movements with you that you can do at your own pace. Again, these are just sort of foundational moves. They're not necessarily Pilates, yoga, although these movements are found within those modalities. This is more about just becoming more human, is the way I look at the movement these days. So I've been speaking a lot about being more heart-centered, about being heart-oriented, and really being in tune with our feelings and our sense of self so that we can actually process what we're feeling and what we're sensing in this world. And spinal extension is one of the foundational moves that you can do for opening your heart and actually getting your upper spine to be more flexible. So part 1, what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands by your sides, sort of like hands next to the tops of the shoulders, elbows drop down, and you're just sitting nice and tall. You can stand too, but sitting somewhat easier. You always want to protect your back by snuggling the navel. So we do a little pelvic floor lift, a little zip up your lower body, and then snuggling the belly button into the spine towards the back of the body. From there, you're going to take your arms like you're spreading behind you, across from you, which basically stretches the heart. It looks like it's going forward, but it's or up, but it's going forward more. And then you come out of it. A little pulse. You can bow into yourself. And then you sit tall again, snuggle in the navel to the spine, and then again, squeeze the shoulder blades, stretch your heart forward, and then bring yourself back to center. We'll do one more of those little extensions. Heart opens as the shoulder blades spread or squeeze behind you. This is new to share this. And then come back in. So again, it's just a simple spinal movement, spinal extension. If you're familiar with Pilates and yoga, you can always do some sort of a swan, which is in Pilates, or a cobra, which is the yogic term of this upper body spinal extension. I like to do it sitting because one, you can start with your head, heart, hips in an alignment. And then, snuggling that navel to the spine, you squeeze the blades, spread the chest open as the heart presses forward, and then you come back to center. So just a little movement to get your heart energy open, okay? And we're going to keep adding in. We're going to be doing this more. Like, I'm excited. I'm feeling so inspired and ready to share. So get ready, y'all. It's coming at ya, for ya, with love. Okay, so from here, we're going to move into our Cosmic Sync Astrology sesh, part of the sesh. So part one, always the moon. The moon's moving. I mean, the sun moves every day. It rises, it sets. But it takes a little longer to get through the month than the moon does, right? The moon's changing all the time. It changes signs every 2.5 days. So it's also phases every 2.5 days, which I find is really interesting. So the cycle of the moon, 28-day cycle, give or take, it's like 28.5 approximately. But anyways, so it takes 28 approximate days to get from the new moon to back to the new moon. And so last episode, we were talking about how the moon was actually waning towards a new moon. It was getting darker. And I was recording it just before the last quarter square. When you see a waning half moon, that is the moon looks lit from the left side. And then it continues to wane, goes to crescent, and then to new. And then we wax. We move towards more moonlight as it grows into a full moon. So here we are 2 weeks later, waxing first quarter square. So a first quarter square is the first half moon illuminated. So it's the right side illuminated. And I love talking about and also relating to the actual cycle of the moon because, again, it's changing every 2.5 days. It's something that you can plan your life with. The lunar cycle is a way to harmonize with life and really understanding the wax versus the wane. Because when the energy is waxing, it's building. It's growing. So with a first quarter square, we have the tides rising, getting fuller, halfway to a full moon. And then from there, with this half moon, because the energy's rising, we're taking more action. We have more energy building. It's a really great time to make progress, to reassess goals and really lean into the things that you want fulfillment on the full moon with, and to let go of what you don't want to move forward with the upcoming full moon. So I think that's fascinating. I think it's so cool. So waxing, I'm telling you, like, I want to talk about full moons and new moons, but everybody does. And the truth is there's 6 more phases. There's a total of 8 phases of the moon, and we should have a relationship with all phases. So that's why I'm really emphasizing these less talked about lunar phases, because there's energy in all of them. There's wisdom and embodiment wisdom for all of us in all 8 phases, in all the signs too. So with that rising, waxing first quarter square coming up, that's making the sun at 28 degrees in the zodiac sign of Cancer, and the moon will be at 28 degrees Aries, and that's taking place on July 21st. So you can think about that a little bit, because from there, we're basically waxing towards a full moon, which is on the 29th, depending on where you're at on the planet. Full moon, July 29th. That's a special day for me, because somebody I love dearly was born on that day. It'll be her 30th birthday. So I'm stoked. She gets a full moon birthday this year. So yeah, so we got the waxing first quarter square peaking on July 21st, and then it's going to continue to wax to that full moon on July 29th. So prepare for that. And then the next thing, so that's the moon positioning. The next thing is the sun's positioning. So we are, as I record this, we're in the final days of the sun being in the zodiac sign of Cancer. And it moves into the sign of Leo on July 22nd. This year, as the sun enters into Leo, the sun is going to be, it's squaring Chiron at 0 degrees in Taurus. No one alive has really, and well, here's what I want to say. Chiron was discovered in the 70s when it was in the sign of Aries. And so we just passed its first path through the zodiac, and now it's in the sign of Taurus, in a place that we haven't witnessed, quote unquote, yet since it's been discovered. So I think that's fascinating too, because again, we are in such new territory. All these alignments, all the astrology from Christmas to 2019 until now, actually through 2030, unprecedented and extraordinary astrological alignments that humans on Earth living haven't really experienced yet. And so that's also why I really try to, I'll lay down some of the basics and the archetypal studies, but again, as I say in every episode and everything I share, I want you to have your own experience. That is the truth of the age of Aquarius, is that you have your own experience, that you develop your own relationship to these transits, these astrological cycles. Because they're cycles, they keep coming. And the more time you're blessed with on Earth, you'll have more experience with these cycles, which gives you more opportunity to develop your own relationship with it, not just what somebody told you, right? Again, empower thyself, know thyself, do you boo. Okay, so with the Leo, back to the Leo, sun entering Leo on July 22nd, we got sun square Chiron. So that's kind of interesting. We got some healing going on. Also, the sun in Leo is going to be opposite Pluto in Aquarius. Which, this is a whole story, a very cosmic story. I'll be getting deep into this at the workshop too. But what I want to say is Jupiter is actually conjunct the sun. It's, as of today, it's at 4 degrees Leo. And then the sun moves in to the sign of Leo on the 22nd And so Jupiter and Leo will be together at the early degrees. Jupiter and the Sun will be conjunct in Leo in the early degrees, and they'll be opposite Pluto and the North Node eventually in the early degrees of Aquarius. So big stuff, big change, transformation, stepping into our power. We have to have courage these days. Oh, courage like we never thought we could have. We're being asked to step into our power on whole new levels and stop playing games, stop power tripping with others, and just acknowledge our own power and accept that within others and meet each other. Stop these games and this power struggles. It's enough. We've done that. It's time to change. Yeah. Okay. So let's just talk about a little about the archetypes of Leo. Leo is a lion, lioness. It is a fire sign. It is ruled by the sun. Every zodiac sign has a ruling planet or celestial body, and Leo is the sun, which should tell you everything. Fire and sun is light, energy, creativity. It's power. It's love. Leo is rules the heart. Each zodiac sign has its own body part that it's the ruler of, and Leo rules the heart. And something that I really love, so in the past, I've always said Leo's like the royal sign. It's the Raj sign of the zodiac. I started sort of reframing that, and that like the word royal doesn't even really cut it from my perspective. I feel like Leo is sovereignty. And in fact, like they call the kings and queens the sovereign. They're the sovereign. They have the ultimate freedom and wherewithal of themselves. It is so cool because when I love thinking about like the evolution that occurs when you start at the zodiac and you make your way through. If you've listened in the past, you've heard me say this, but I will say it every time we change, the sun changes signs, because the sun does act like a light or a flashlight or a stage light to highlight and bring out all of the essence of that time of year. When I think about Leo, I think about it, that sovereignty is the edge of I am, because when we move into the sign of Virgo, which we'll do at the end of August, the energy shifts and you actually prepare to meet the other, which is Libra. So Virgo is very much about honoring the self and then preparing for service, preparing to meet the other, while Leo is the full-on, like, highest form of the I am, next to Aries, which is another fire sign in the zodiac. And so, yeah, Leo is all about that royal, Raj, heart-centered leader, the person that is sovereign and free to be who they are. And in a balanced way, like obviously there's good and bad to all signs. However, like when Leo energy is fully embodied, it is like one of the most caring, generous, heart-centered leader roles that are defined within the zodiac. The Leo leadership is heart-centered. It acknowledges people for who they are and how they shine, and that frankly is unbothered by it, could really care less by it. It's actually empowered. The more energy that's around, the more Leo takes it in and shines. So as always, whether you're a Leo or not, getting into and understanding these cycles that occur within the seasons on a continuous basis. Once a year, we meet Leo, the sun in Leo, and we have an opportunity to sort of play and work with the archetypal energies and the forces that are prevalent in that sign, in that archetype. Another way that I like to think about that too is that, like, the Leo, so every time the sun changes signs, you get to actually like put on, express another part of your personality or how you're feeling, just like we do in as the seasons change. So I'm obviously not going to wear the same outfit that I would in the middle of December since I live in Colorado. I'm going to wear warmer clothes in the winter. So it's another way that I love looking at the zodiac is to recognize it through the solar cycle and just understand. The more you're familiar with this, it just becomes like it's baseline foundational information, but it becomes wisdom when you live it. And so solstice, summer solstice, June 21st, 22nd, marks the beginning of summer, which is the sign of Cancer. Leo marks the middle of the summer in the northern hemisphere. So just think about it a little bit. The dog days of summer. A bunch of people are going to start talking about Lionsgate. I will later. Anyway, the concept of really understanding the cyclical nature, the rhythm of the season. Midsummer is full sun, full shine, highest amount of energy we can get. It is definitely hot, and there's a lot of light, full sun, and so we have to make use of that time because in 6 months from now we're going to be in the middle of winter, looking for that light. If you're in the northern hemisphere. Some people are lucky enough to live on the equator and they don't really experience these shifts, but I've lived there and I really I'm a beach lady. I could totally do that, but there's something really beautiful about being able to experience the seasons and the changes in the seasons, So, okay. So there's the sun positioning. Just want to breeze through this info really quick that Mercury is going direct on July 23rd. And man, everybody's been whining. That Mercury in Cancer has had everybody whining about Mercury retrograde. You guys, stop blaming the planets. I do a little bit, but it's more in jest. The truth is that these are energetic states, positions that could give us energy. It's not about having this planet negatively affecting your life and, screwing you up. I'm just sick of that talk. So that you're not going to get that here. I won't. I'm actually about like, how do we use this so that it's beneficial for our life, period. Otherwise, why? Why would I look at it? Seriously, though. Okay, so Mercury's going direct, July 23rd. Yay! And then, just for the record, Neptune went retrograde. It will stay retrograde through December, the middle of December. Pluto's still retrograde, and it will remain retrograde through October. Okay? And then on July 27th, Saturn's going retrograde. So, I don't think that retrogrades are bad. In fact, Pluto spends half the year in retrograde. And so half the population, I give or take, is born with Pluto retrograde. As I said in the previous podcast, people that I see on their charts that were born with Mercury retrograde actually thrive during Mercury retrograde. So again, all these projections and everybody talking about how it's gonna do this and it's gonna do that, zip the lip and let people have their own experience with this stuff. Because you might actually love Mercury retrogrades and actually be able to get stuff done with those. And it would benefit your life to know the difference. Because you could plan. This is my point. When you know that there's a cycle occurring, like a tide coming through, then you can make decisions about how to ride those waves, how to make the most of those moments. That's fascinating to me. I feel like that's something to live your life by. So again, like, just observe and make a connection so you can develop your own relationship to these things. And I'm going to keep doing it too. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today is these nodes of the moon. They're my jam. I love studying the nodes of the moon. They are not an actual thing. They are a place in space. The place in space where the sun's orbit and the moon's orbit cross paths. And in that place where they cross paths, they are aligned with the earth. So when you hear nodes of the moon, just know that they represent the sun, the moon, and the earth. And then on a deeper level, they speak to us and our soul mission. So let's talk about this. So right now, we're in the final days of the North and South Node in the signs of Pisces, Virgo. North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. 0 degrees right now. Through the 26th or 27th, depending on where you are on the planet. The 26th or 27th, they move into the signs of Leo and Aquarius. But let's talk about this moment right now, these last days of the nodes of the moon being in North Node in Pisces, spiritual development, spiritual, not just like spirituality, but like heightened consciousness, supra-consciousness. And that's the North Node. The South Node is in Virgo, 0 degrees, critical thinking, analysis, and my favorite word, discernment for Virgo right now. These words can change depending on where we're at in the cycles of things and where we're at in the rhythm of things. But right now, the big words that I keep hearing about this 0 degrees Virgo Pisces is spiritual discernment. And it's not just spirituality. It could be your consciousness, discerning what you're allowing to impact, influence, and affect your consciousness, your mind, the way you feel and experience the world. So important to have spiritual discernment right now. There are so many people that are telling people how to live, what to do, how to be, where to go, who to be with, who to see. I mean, oh my gosh. Spiritual discernment. Everyone's really, really good. We're getting good at like taking care of ourselves, and we have access to a lot of information. And that in that spiritual discernment becomes this sense of understanding what real wisdom is, what real knowledge is versus just information. And so again, for me, I'm going to borrow a term from my teacher, Guru Jagat, practical application. I mean, that's not just hers. We use this. This is a way of learning and living what we learn, to actually apply what we know and what we know, what we believe and what we know practically to our lives, so that it means something instead of just all this woo-woo or bossing, power tripping, this whole, like, there's a million ways we could look at this. But the big thing is again, how are you discerning what you're receiving versus what you're allowing into your life's experience, into your heart, into your mind, into your biofield, versus are there leaks? Are you just letting anything come through? Anybody's ideas, everybody's philosophy. social media is the perfect place to see this, because if you're really tuned in, if you do the breath work and you core calibrate, then your senses are going to be heightened and aware, and you're going to sense a grift, a fib, a fake out, inauthenticity, a lot of things. I'm really doing a good job. I keep catching myself from cussing. Real talk. But okay, so I just want to lay these dates out for you because, again, if you've been studying this with me, you will know I love bringing up the cycles, the time periods, because you can look back on your own life and see. And like I said, we're going to get into a lot of this in more depth in a way to help it all become more personalized and customized in that workshop that I'm hosting on July 26th. You can sign up on my website, liveinrhythm.com. There'll be links everywhere as well. So here's the deal. The last time that the nodes were at 0 degrees Pisces and Virgo, where we were approaching spiritual discernment, was in 2017. But at that point, the North Node was Virgo and the South Node was Pisces. So it was a little bit of a polarity from now. But if we go back to 2007, that was the last time we were at this 0 degrees South Node Virgo, 0 degrees North Node Pisces. So about 18 years ago, 19 years ago, we were where we are right now in the cycle to some degree. And 9 years ago, we were at the polarity of it. Can you catch the rhythm of that spiritual discernment, of the reasoning that goes on when the node is in Virgo and Pisces? The consciousness levels, the ways that you maybe pushed yourself to develop your spiritual consciousness. There are echoes and stories within this time period. If you stay true, if you look back at your life, you will see that it's there. There is an echo and a rhythm in this cycle, 2017, 2007, stories, 2008 too, stories of what we're experiencing, maybe we've been experiencing in the last 18 months. And how can you seal that up? Because we won't be back here until 2034 and 2043. So 2034, again, will be the polarity of that. And then 2043 will be back here, 0 degrees North Node Pisces. So I know that's a lot. And again, I'm going to go way deeper into these concepts in the workshop. And again, I'll share with you how you can actually apply that to your chart, to your life, so that it's more meaningful. Because the eclipses are occurring here between now and 2028. So we got a little time to play with this. So then that said, on July 26th, the North Node is moving into 29 degrees Aquarius. South Node will be 29 degrees Leo. We haven't had, I'm calling this axis the axis of heart and soul. Leo, the heart, Aquarius with Pluto in there. This is all about soul calibration. We're doing core calibration and soul calibration, and maybe soul celebration too. But yeah, so starting July 26th, 27th, that's the day of the workshop. We're going to be diving deep into understanding how we can best maximize this axis of heart and soul, because we got big things. Jupiter's going to be there with it. Pluto's in there with it. The sun at the beginning. Yeah, and that first eclipse is coming on August 9th. We're going to have another workshop to tune in where we meditate and do some crystal work on that. There's just so much going on, and I'm so inspired and I'm so excited to share it all with you. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much more about that axis of heart and soul. You can come to the workshop and get more details. And then also, as the energies align, we will, of course we're going to chitty chat about it on here. So please visit the website and sign up for the workshop or book a sesh if you want a little one-on-one time. Or if you want to schedule a private group session, I'm available for that too. So thank you all for tuning in. I love and appreciate you so much. And I hope you're having a wonderful basket, receiving the good heart-centered energy. Do those exercises where you start to open up your upper spine, get your chest to spread out a little bit, get your heart to pump a little bit more healthfully with some circulation and rhythm and deep breathing, because that's what we're going to be doing here as we're living in rhythm. So thank y'all for tuning in. Blessings, love, and respect always. Peace.